So this evening, because last week we were kind of back to basics about, how we started this group was about getting ourselves physically as good as we want to get. And the thing that makes that difficult, and not just our physical goals, but all of our goals, is that voice inside our head that says you can't do this and you can't do that. And it continues to go on throughout our life. And I had that for many years because, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, I thought about a business idea. The voice in my head would say, what's the point? You're never going to achieve it. Why bother? And so it took me a long while. And then one day I listened to that voice. I listened to, because we all think it's our voice, don't we? I think it's us that's saying it. And I listened to that voice. I realized it wasn't my voice at all. And once I realized that, then I had the chance to turn that voice down or completely remove it from my head. And we can do it in different ways. But we do have these voices sound like we're, schizophrenic. It's not, but we have lots of different aspects of ourselves. All of them have a role to play in our lives. But some of them are there, they think they're protecting us. That voice is like a parent that doesn't want you to get hurt. If you don't do this, if you don't try it, then you won't get hurt. And so I don't believe that the voices are all kind of detrimental to us. We just have to understand that we're not born with those limitations. Pretty much all of the limitations we have and all the limiting beliefs we have were placed on us. They may be put there by some well-meaning person, but it didn't start as our, just 2 seconds. It didn't start as our belief. When we're born, we think everything is possible because we don't know otherwise. Obviously, we have physical restraints and we have, kind of psychological restraints on what we can, what we cannot do. But most of the limiting beliefs we have put upon us because, as I said, and I don't think that people do it in a nasty way. I don't think it's always trying to hold us back. Many of the times it's because they care about us. They don't want us to get upset, but their opinions are based on their own limitations. So once we listen to that voice inside and ask and listen to it carefully and recognize whose voice it is, then we can either choose to believe that or choose to not. For me, when it comes to beliefs, and this is kind of simplistic view, but this is how I function. There's only 2 questions when it comes to my beliefs about anything. Does this belief empower me or disempower me? And if I think it disempowers me, I can choose to believe something else. Because none of these things exist outside of our skull, except as perception. None of it. Our emotions, physical pain, our beliefs, none of those things exist outside of our skull, except as perception. The world is made up of our perception. And our perceptions are based on our beliefs. And those beliefs, most of them, didn't start with us. We didn't suddenly make this belief up. When we're born and when we're young children, we are helpless. And so it's hardwired into us to follow the one least uncertain. In general, that's our parents, because they're the people in our environment. So we follow them. And that carries on right throughout our life. And many of you are therapists. And one of the most important things when you're in that client situation is to at least appear to be the one least uncertain. Some of you who are my students have been in JHA, you'll have heard me say this. And it doesn't come from me. I wish they were my words, but they're not. They're Milton Erickson's words. He was working with a client who had cancer of the jaw. And this man was dying and he had a few months left to live and he was in terrible pain. And they tried everything else to eliminate his pain. He didn't want to be completely knocked out because he wanted to have his last few weeks and months being able to converse with his family. So he called Erickson as a last resort. And Erickson did his magic and eliminated this guy's pain. And afterwards, someone said to Erickson, he said, "Did you know you could do that?" And Erickson said these words, which I think all of us, if we're working in therapy, or even if we're working with people in any way at all, he said these words, which I think are the most important words. He said, "I had my doubts, but what I had no doubt about was I could keep my doubts to myself." In that situation, he appeared to be the one least uncertain. If you've heard me do my arrow technique, or when I'm working with people with pain, everything about me is saying, in a moment, this pain is going to be gone. There's nothing in my attitude, nothing in the way I speak that gives off any other message. Do I believe that's going to happen for 100% of the people? Absolutely not. But it'll work for more people more often if I appear to be the one least uncertain. If we go into our therapy and we say, you know, with a bit of luck and the wind behind us, I'm going to try and help you, and maybe we'll get a result. No, that is not going to work. You know, and so when it comes to those voices inside us, most of those voices are being placed there by well-meaning people, but they're only functioning from their perspective of the world. And when we have children, then we want them to be safe, and we don't want them to get hurt or embarrassed. So even if the person that's talking to you, the one in that situation that's least uncertain, whether it's a parent, a teacher, or a friend, that you believe has some knowledge, they're the one least uncertain, the chances are you're going to follow their suggestion. But it's only ever based on their own limitations. And like most of us, people have limitations. So when we look at that again, and we look at it from where we are now, from the evolved state we're in now, you know, as men, as women, you know, as adults, some of you are parents, when we look at it again from where we are now and we listen to that voice, we can change it. We can say, I can accept that, or I can see it for what it is. It was someone else's opinion about me. You know, my oldest boy is 51 now. And when he was at primary school, and I've always thought he was a genius from the moment I saw him, like, you know, he could read out of a newspaper at 3 years old. He's ambidextrous, so he could play football with both feet. You know, I thought he was a genius. I was only a child myself when he was born. So I made the mistake with him because he could read out of a newspaper at 3. Every night I would sit with him and I'd say, look, read 10 pages out of this book. He hates reading. I believe that he, you know, all these years on, he'll read the sports page of the newspaper. I think that's about where he's. Whereas some of you know my son Anthony, he devours books, because I made that mistake, unfortunately, with my oldest boy, and I wasn't going to make that mistake with Anthony. So he just had a room full of books, which he devours, and still today, I reckon he reads 3 or 4 books a month. And if it's anything to do with hypnotherapy, as you know, he can quote you chapter and verse on pretty much every book on hypnosis. But with Dean, my oldest boy, when he was at school, in his primary school, one of his, I think it was his headmaster, said to me, you know, your boy's streetwise, but he's not very academic. Don't expect too much of his 11 plus. And if you don't know what the 11 plus, if you're in America or any other part of the world, the 11 plus is a test that kids take at 11 years old to determine whether they're going to go to a grammar school, which is like the top 25% of the population, or they go to a normal secondary school. And when this teacher said that to me, he said, no, don't expect too much of him, because, you know, he's streetwise, but he's not academic. I don't know why he'd be streetwise at 10 years old, but that's what he said. Anyway, to tell you the end of the story, one day I was at work and one of the teachers came along, spoke to me, and I said, I'm not supposed to tell you, but your son Dean passed the 11 plus with the highest mark school's ever had. Now, if he had listened to that headmaster, if we'd listened to that headmaster and believed that, then our whole attitude towards him might have changed. And so what I'm saying is, the headmaster was probably trying to save us from being let down, from expecting too much. That is not what actually came across. So what I'm saying to you is, most of your limitations, most of those voices in your head, if you listen to them, aren't yours. And you have to understand that that's all it is. We can change it. We can decide to listen to something else. We can change the sound of that voice. If you have a voice in your head which is saying you're rubbish, or you're not any good, or you're not going to achieve anything, I promise you, you can change that voice to Donald Duck's voice. It will not have the same effect. It's not going to affect you in the same way, trust me. You can change any of those what we call submodalities of our thoughts and change the way we think. And tonight, when we do our hypnosis, I'm going to get you into a state of mind where that negative voice, and you'll have many of them, you're going to hear it clearly, and you'll know whose voice it is. And I'm not asking you to, go, okay, well, that's that person, I'm never going to speak to them again because they obviously did that to me. Because none of this stuff is true. It's only our brain making it up. But sometimes when you hear it and you see it and you realize it's not you, then we can change it. And that's what I did, and I'll let you in on this. I mean, I shouldn't really say it because he's still alive. My dad's 98. But I grew up with a father that only ever put me down. Never in my memory do I remember him saying, you're really good at that, or you can do anything you want. I never remember him saying it. And that might be kind of a block in my mind, but I honestly don't believe it. So I grew up with that voice in my head, and I didn't recognize till I was in my 20s that that's where that voice came from. But I also grew up with a mother that thought the sun shone out of my backside. She believed I could do anything. So I had these two parents in my life. And when I realized that most of the negative voices in my head were not mine, they were my dad's, in my own head, and you can do this if you want, you picture how you want. And for some of you are so young, I won't even remember this, but we used to have this old wooden radio with the valves in the back. That's how old I am. And I think it was my dad's radio. And so I picture this radio, and I picture with two volume knobs on it. And one of them's got my dad's name above it, and the other one's got my mum's name above it. And so I turn my dad's volume right down, and I turn my mum's volume right up. And I'm sure, even though he's 98, I'm sure somewhere he's going, I can't hear him. I truly can't hear him. But I can hear my mum's voice. Anytime I think, can I do this? Can I not do it? I can hear her voice saying, you absolutely can do it. And so we have control over this, and we can do this however you want to do it. Today, we're going to do it. But you've got to understand that we all have many aspects of ourselves. I was reading this thing the other day, and if you're on a retreat, you probably heard me reading it, Caroline. And anyone else on the last retreat from here? Don't think it was. I think it's just Caroline. Oh, Elaine, you were there, were you? Right, yeah. So you weren't on the. Oh, you were, weren't you? Yeah.
Yep.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So I read this thing, and I just think it really resonated with me, and I'm gonna kind of recite it to you if I can get it right, okay? But it resonated with me, and I think it's kind of it goes to what we're talking about today, about these voices we have in our head. And some of them are positive, don't get me wrong. So, I mean, this is how it goes, and I'm going to do my best to recite it the best I can, right? I am several. There is a crowd in me. At the table of my soul, many sit. I am all of them. The old man, the child, the sage, the fool. And you never know who you'll be sitting with. And you'll never know how long you'll be with each of me. But I promise you this, as you sit at that table in that ancient ritual, I will give you at least one of who I am. And I'll take the risk of being together on the same plane. But understand, there is a bad side of me. There is a bad side that I try to keep imprisoned, but every now and again escapes and embarrasses me. Among the many, somehow, one day, I'll find me. One day, I will definitely be myself. And that resonated with me because we are all of those things. We have all these different aspects of our life. And some of those aspects are working for us and some of them are not. But once we listen in and understand that they serve us, we don't serve them. We should be the captain of this ship. And every one of those aspects of who you are should be serving you. And if they're not serving you, you have the ability to sack them or change them or eliminate them. I've said this to you before, and I'll say it again. Most of the beliefs that we're walking around as adults were created by a child under 7 years old. And that is a very scary thought. You would not have a 6-year-old girl making a lifelong decision about who you can trust and who you wouldn't trust. You would not have a 4-year-old boy making a lifelong decision about what you are capable of. Yet most of the beliefs we have were created by a child under 7. And sometimes when you listen into the voice that's trying to protect you or saying you can't do this or can't do that, if you listen carefully, it won't even be an adult voice, it'll be a child's voice. And you have to recognize it and go, that's not me anymore. Your life experiences, the things you've learned. I was talking to Nolene earlier, just before we started today, because we got here early. Nolene and I like to get up early and get here early. But we started today, and she was saying, I asked how she was, and she said, she has the life trials, which we do. But we all have them. But it's not the difficulties, because we're going to get them anyway. It's how we deal with it, how we face it, what we decide to do with those difficulties that makes us who we are. And we can crumble, and we can give into it, or we can keep fighting. And it is a fight most of the time. We're fighting with ourselves. We're fighting with our limiting beliefs. I used to coach boxing, and I've seen it, and I've been in the ring. And when you're on the ropes, there are two things you can do when you're on the ropes. You can either fold and give in, or you can fight your way out. Both are painful, but you can do it. But the moment you think you've lost, you have lost. We have to continue. It's not, there's no magic bullet for us. Every day, life throws something else at us. I don't care whether you're living, what people consider to be a perfect life. And most of us, when we look at each other on Facebook, that's what we think, don't we? Look at that. How wonderful our life is. That's only our Facebook profile. That's not what's going on in our lives. Most of us have our own trials to put up with. But it's not those trials. It's how we deal with them. And I know it's a kind of cliche thing, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but that's kind of true. Because each of those things we learn from. We don't learn, or we don't grow in our comfort zone. We just don't. We have to stick our head above the parapet. And especially when you do it, I know I do it all the time. There are people, as soon as you stick your head above the parapet and say, here I am, people are going to take pot shots at you. It's painful. Or we can stay in our comfort zone. But the only thing that's stopping us from being everything we can be are those limiting voices, those limiting beliefs. Tonight, we're going to clear some of those beliefs out. You're going to be in a space, because I believe that's what hypnosis does. We can be thinking, I need to sort this out. and you know, I need to sort this thing out. It's bugging me. And then you think, no, I've got to get some milk from the shop first because I need some milk. And then you think, I wonder where my Aunt Mary's cat is. And then before you know it, you're thinking about your Aunt Mary's cat and what you meant to be focused on. You know, you've gone off somewhere completely different. I think what hypnosis does, it through the operator, that's me, I get to hold you in a space where everything else is periphery, where we can laser point your mind at the problem for maybe half an hour. And in that space, when you haven't got anything else in your head other than focused on the problem, in that space, you can resolve it. I'll keep saying it, but I'll say it again. I don't do anything here. It's not my fluence coming down through the internet. This is you. All I'm doing as the operator, as the catalyst to help you and hold you in a space where you can sort these things out for yourself, because you already have within you all the resources you need, all the strength you need, all the knowledge and learning you need to overcome any problem you're suffering at this point in time. But as I said, most of the time, trying to stay focused enough and long enough to do that is difficult because we've got lots of things going on around us. You know, the great, I don't know, personal development guru from the 50s or 60s, I don't know how long he was around, maybe 70s, I don't know, a guy called Zig Ziglar. I'd love that name. I'd love that on my passport. You know, what's your name? I'm Zig Ziglar. Yeah, I'd love it. But this guy, Zig Ziglar, he was incredible. And he was a proper kind of, you know, South American, not South American, but Southern American. You know, kind of got that real kind of cowboy twang. And for us as English, I love that. But anyway, he would, like a Southern preacher. But he said this. He said, you can take the strongest magnifying glass on the hottest day of the year and have a big pile of dry straw. And you could hold that glass over that straw and nothing will happen, providing you keep moving the bit of glass. But the moment you hold that glass still and you focus the energy of the sun through that glass, boom, you have a fire. And that's how I think hypnosis works. Most of the time, our mind's that piece of glass moving everywhere. But the moment you focus it, just for a period of time on your problem, you will see the way out because you already have that way out. And then as we get into this, and it's one of those things we have to learn to do, it's not always natural. I know some of you have been on this for a long time at me, and some of you are already hypnotherapists and working with the mind. But that's how I see what we do. You know, once we focus, look hard enough and long enough, and then what I was about to say, which I forgot, was we have to trust our unconscious mind. Because sometimes when we ask a question of our unconscious, what should I do? Is this the right thing to do? Whatever. If we ask a question and we sit in that space for a while, I promise you, you will have an answer. But here's the thing. It's not always the answer that you would like, but it will be the thing to do. You know, it's not always the answer you want. And sometimes having to deal with what you actually need to be free, to be everything you can be, it's not easy, it's painful. So we have to sometimes dig into that. It's like, you know, when we talk about psychological problems, there's a book that I read years ago, and the analogy was, imagine a man limps into his doctor's and he says, I've got a pain in my foot and I haven't been feeling well for some time. So the doctor said, would you remember when it started? He said, well, yeah, you know, 6 months ago, I was walking barefoot in the park and I felt this pain in my foot. So the doctor has to get the man calmed down enough to examine his foot. And this guy hates the sight of blood. He hates being ill. He hates any kind of injury. And he's avoided looking at his foot for 6 months. So the doctor has to get him calmed down enough to look at his foot. And he turns his foot over, and there in his heel is a thorn embedded. And because he's left it for so long, it's going kind of horrible. And it's infected. And that infection is affecting his whole body now. So the doctor has to get the man calmed down enough to actually look at the injury and then experience the pain of having that thorn pulled out. And then that foot can heal, and then he can heal. But if you take it one step further, instead of looking at it as a physical injury, if you look at it as a psychological injury or a psychological thorn that's been stuck for maybe years, that you've been ignoring because it's too painful to look at. You don't want to look at it because it might be nasty, it might be horrible. But we as the therapists, as me as a hypnotist, and I'm sure I know a lot of you here are hypnotherapists, part of our job is to get our client into a calm enough state to look at the injury, to let them know that they are safe in your office and that whatever it was, they actually survived, and then get them to look at it again. I'm not talking about regression. I'm not talking about taking them back to the moment they were walking in the park, feel the pain, step into your body, feel that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting calmed down enough to look at the injury so that you can then pull that metaphorical thorn out of that person so the healing begins. But unless we're willing to look at it, and again, it can be done in minutes, it can be done in moments rather than months and years, then we can start to heal. So we're going to listen to that voice tonight. You'll be aware of it, but also be aware that any memory is constructed. It might not be real, but let's understand that it's not your voice. Every aspect of you is a creation of someone else's imagination. Every aspect of you, your beliefs about who you are, didn't start with you. And knowing this, we can change any aspect of our life. We can decide, we can make a decision about where we want to be in this moment, how we want to be in the next moment. We can make that decision because there is only this moment. There is only this moment. And it's so minute, by the time I've said it, it's already gone. There is no time and space. There is only this moment. All time is constructed as well. A future, a past. There is only this moment. We can decide how we want to be in this moment. We can decide that we want to change this moment. We have the ability to make it happen. We don't have to continue to live with beliefs that were placed on us as children, or beliefs that are placed on us in other relationships. We do it to each other all the time, don't we? We're not perfect. And then we live with that belief. It's gone on long enough, we end up believing it. And the worst part about that is we take it into our next relationship. We take those limiting beliefs that were placed us into our next relationship. What if we could keep going back to the moment, this moment? Whatever's happened in the past, happened in the past. Whatever you did in the past is done. Instead of beating ourselves up over what we could have done, should have done, or would have done, okay, I'm a human being. And as such, I make mistakes. The two biggest problems we have as human beings is just a Freddy theory, okay? That's not carved in stone. It's a Freddy theory. The two biggest problems we have is, one, we have too great an expectation of who we are and what we can do. And when we don't match up to our expectation of who we should be, we beat ourselves up over it. And again, those beliefs about what we should be or how we should behave or what we should be feeling were placed on us at some point. They're not even real. But that's the first one. We have too great an expectation of ourselves. That's not to say that we shouldn't continue to strive to be the best person we can be as kind as we can be, learn what we can, help other people. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when we don't match up to what we think we should be doing right now, we end up beating ourselves up. That's the first problem. The second problem is mind reading. They'll be thinking that, she'll be thinking this, he must be thinking that of me. We have to remind ourselves we can't read other people's minds. And it's the truth. And I know a lot of you are therapists, you'll know this for a fact. Most of the people, if not all of us, they're not thinking about you. They're caught up in their own stuff. They might think about you for a moment, think that was stupid, but then it's gone. They're not thinking about us. But those are the two major problems that most people suffer from. Once we get past that, once we get past judging other people, and once we get past worrying about other people judging us, it leaves you in an awesome space, I tell you. It's an awesome space to live in when you stop judging and stop worrying about being judged. When you stop beating yourself up over every little thing. I know some of you have been in my groups for a while now, and you've heard me talking about this for some months now, because it's my kind of mantra, about finding an unconditional self-love. That's not an arrogance. That's an unconditional self-love. Because when you get into that space, then you're less hard on yourself. I've said it, and I'll say it for those who haven't heard it already. If you have a friend that you love and they make a mistake, you do not stop loving that person because they make a mistake. You have a friend that you love who puts on a couple of pounds. You don't stop loving that person because of that. Yet we are much harder on ourselves when we don't match up to our own expectations. We can keep moving forward. We can keep, and I'm not even going to use the word strive, because I think we should strive. I think we should be working towards the things that serve us and help us maybe serve others, but do it in a friendly way to ourselves. Don't force that upon us. You know, to do it in a way that's kind to ourselves, like you would encourage someone you love, instead of forcing or being hard on that person. And we can change that voice in our head. How many of you have been doing some sport, or you're at school and you have a teacher that believes in you, one person or a coach that believes in you, and you want to do that for that person? You want to be as good as you can be on that sports pitch, or you want to be as good as you can be in that class, because not because they're shouting at you and threatening you and making you feel bad, but because they believe in you. And with that belief in you helps you achieve what you want to achieve. And I think we should be that coach to ourselves, not the person that's shouting on the sidelines, not the teacher that's threatening you with anything if you don't do this. Be that other coach, that one who believes in you, that wants the best for you, that you want to do it for. Not through threat, not through fear, but because that someone believes in you. Be that coach for yourself. Be that voice in your head that will override all the other voices. So think about, you know, something you'd like to achieve, whatever that might be. We have our, you know, I think we should all have some goals, whether it's in our career, you know, I want to have this many clients, I want to help this many people, or I want to be as fit and well as I can be. But you've got to do it for yourself. I see people that come and see me, they want to get off a drug, or they want to stop smoking, or they want to lose weight. When I ask the question, I say, you know, why do you want to quit smoking? I say, well, my doctor says I should quit smoking. You know, my wife wants me to lose weight, or my husband wants me to lose weight, or whatever it might be. If that reason for being in my office is outside of that person's own head, they might be able to do it for a while, but it's not going to be long lasting. I had a lady came to see me once. She wanted to lose a stone in weight. It's 14 pounds. I don't know, 6 kilos, or wherever you're living in the world. And I said, and she was a really attractive woman, right? She was young, she was attractive. She wanted to lose 14 pounds. And I said, why do you want to lose the weight? And I swear to God, this is what she said. She said, my husband is into designer things, you know, the designer shoes, designer suits, designer a car. And he thinks I'll look better if I lose a stone in weight. And this woman looked fabulous. I've got to tell you, she was fabulous. And I said to her, I said, I think the wrong person is in my therapy chair. I said it to her. The wrong person is in my therapy chair. Your husband needs to be here. I can help you lose that weight, but you've got to want it. If you're doing it for your husband, it's not a good enough reason. And it's the same for all of us. We have to do this for ourselves, not for other people, not because what other people think. Because we're going to enjoy it, because it serves us. Not lose weight because you're worried about what other people think. Not earn X amount of money because you're worried about other people think. None of those things are going to serve you long term. This evening, my goal here this evening is to get you into a space. Number one, where you realize your own real true worth. And by that, I mean that goes beyond the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the money you have in your bank, the house you live in. Your true intrinsic worth as a person. I want you to have experience of feeling into that feeling of unconditional self-love. Because then you want to do it for you. So many of you spend your life making sure your man's okay, making sure your kids are okay. But somewhere along the line, you drop out of the equation. I want you to understand your own true worth. To want for yourself what you want for the people you love, what you want for your clients. And know it's okay to want that for yourself. So that's where we're going to go with this tonight. And I'm going to, while you're in that state, I'm going to get you so you can be absolutely clear whose voice that is. And there might be more than one. And however you want to do it in your head, listen to it. Maybe even thank that voice, because it probably didn't start as bad intention. It might not have done. But thank it. So thanks for your opinion. But now I've grown. Now I'm an adult. Now I'm a fully fledged being. I can choose another option. If you want to thank it, thank it. If you want to change it, change it. If you want to turn it down or turn it off, turn it off. But if you have a positive voice in your mind, then turn it up. Let that be the loudest voice in your mind. Be your own coach, but be a kind coach, someone who gets the most out of you because they believe in you, not because they're forcing you or frightening you or threatening you. Be that coach for yourself. We'll see where we go with it. I want you to understand your true worth and your true value. Just how incredible you are. Because you absolutely are. Every single one of you are the most incredible creation. Every single one of you are far more than you ever thought you were. And the core of your being, and I've said it to you a lot of times now, the essence of who you are is pure love, pure light, and pure joy. That's the essence of who you are. And every one of your thoughts start from that space. It starts as a pure thought. It has to work its way up through this matrix of your experience of life. And by the time it reaches your conscious awareness, it's been affected by that matrix. And dependent on what your life's been like up to now, how that thought arrives will be determined by that matrix. But every thought starts as a pure thought. Everything about you is geared to you thriving. Given the right opportunity and the opportunity to thrive, we as human beings will thrive. Just think about some of the trials that people go through on this planet. And they survive. Think about those kids in Mumbai living on those rubbish dumps, collecting old carrier bags to try and feed themselves, and they survive. Given the opportunity, we thrive. We just have to allow ourselves to tap into that. And as me and Noeline was saying earlier, none of it's straightforward. Every day we're going to face some trial, something. It's not whether we face it or not, it's how we deal with it. You know, I don't even know where I heard this, but I sail, I windsurf. And it's a lot of learning when you're windsurfing, because it's not like driving a car. You go, put your sat nav on, you go from here to there. It's not how it works. When you're out on the sea and you've only got the wind to drive your vehicle if you want, it changes all the time. It's not like, okay, the wind's blowing northeast, jump on, it's going to go straight there. It's not what happens. The wind is changing all the time. And I don't even know who it was. It may be the great Zig Ziglar who said it. But he said this: it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, but it's the setting of the sail. You have to keep setting the sail. You have to keep moving it. You have to keep adjusting. Sometimes you're sailing almost away from where you want to go. They call it tacking. You're going that way and that way to get there. It's not the blowing of the wind. The same wind blows on all of us. The wind of success, the wind of pain, the wind of fear. It blows on all of us. It's not the blowing of the wind, but the setting of the sail. It's not the trials that we have that determine our outcome. It's how we deal with those trials. All of you are here because you want to continue to improve our lives. Some aspect of your life. I know Petra's here because she just likes to hear me speak. I know she does. It's nothing to do with improving her life. Her life's perfect. Same as Doreen. But you're here because some aspect of your life you want to think differently about. Make it your goal tonight to eliminate those voices. Other ones going to pop up. Think how many people you've met in your life. Don't even It's mind-boggling how many people have spoken to you in your life. There'll be other voices, but when you recognize that they are just voices, they're not here in this moment, and then we can choose to listen to them or not. And it, like with me, as I said to you, when it comes to beliefs, there's only one question: does this serve me or not? And if it doesn't, I can choose to believe something else. And it's the same with that voice in our head. We can decide whether we want to listen to it or not. One of our JHA students, Lisa Derwent, she lives in Australia. I've never met her. She's a hypnotherapist out there. She's got a great way of dealing with the voice in her head, and I love it. It's typically Australian as far as I'm concerned. When a voice pops up and says, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is her reply: that's bullshit. That's what she says. She says it to that negative voice in her head. The moment the voice goes off, you know, not any good at this, that's bullshit. It's typically Australian. I love that way of dealing with it. But we can look at it and we can listen to it and go, no, I choose to believe something else. And if we know where that voice came from, then we'll know that it was only ever someone else's opinion. It's not you. So let's get into this tonight. And I'm just going to let my dog in because she's at the door. Come on, where are you? Quick. Oh, she's jumping off me now. Come on in, say hello. Come up and say hello. Come here. Here's Lucy. Can you see her? She's come to say hello. She's the hypno dog. Right, you look at her too long, you go into a trance, especially when she wants to play ball. Right, so that's what we're going to do. I've been chatting too much. Let's get into this. And look on this as time out for you, okay? God, look at Violetta and her man. How cozy does that look? Eh? God. Yeah, hypno junkies. Right, so get yourself comfortable. Know that while we're together, you're all that matters to me. I want you to be happy. I want you to be well. Let's make before we even go into this, make a decision that you're about to let go of any of those limiting beliefs that were placed on you, to eliminate that voice or turn it down or turn it up if it's a positive voice. And we're going to do this tonight. And at some point, as I always do, I want you to get a feeling and feel into that feeling, unconditional self-love, and understand it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to love yourself and treat yourself with kindness, okay? Right, so if you're ready, get yourselves comfortable. And we're ready to do this. Just take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close. Only as quickly as you're ready to make these changes. That's right. That's right, Katerina. Cover over the blanket. That's it. Get ready, all of you. Take that breath in. As you breathe out, allow your eyes to close. And once again, just focus on those tiny muscles around your eyes. And relax those muscles completely. Get a sense of that happening as you listen to my voice. Imagine it's happening automatically. And every word I say just relaxes those muscles more and more. Imagine having your temples massaged, your scalp massaged, and all of those muscles relaxing. Get a sense of that happening automatically. Just for a moment, allow yourself the pleasure of thinking about the people you love, people that love you, your friends, your family, your partner, your child, your pet. Think about that for a moment. Feel into that feeling of love. Let that fill your heart. And as you feel into that feeling of love, your eyes have relaxed so completely now, they just won't work. But when you realize your eyes are so relaxed, they just won't work, you can test them, find it completely locked. That's right. Now, nothing bothers or affects you. Nothing disturbs you. All that matters now is you, the sound of my voice, and freedom from every limiting belief. That's right. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers. And as you hear that sound, that feeling of relaxation around your eyes, those muscles around your eyes, going to flood down through your body like a bliss anesthesia. Every muscle, nerve, and fiber relaxing, mind relaxing. So get ready as you hear that sound. That feeling of relaxation around your eyes is going to flood down through your body. Now, get a sense of just drifting down into that space of bliss. Just for a while, nobody wants anything. No one expects anything. There is nothing for you to do but to relax into that space. That's right, even deeper than before. That gradual letting go. Letting go even of the effort it takes to be aware of exactly where the arms are positioned, or the hands or fingers. Even the effort it takes to be aware of which leg seems to relax more quickly or completely than the other may seem to be too much effort to bother making. But it takes time to experience that letting go, your own time, in your own way. As you begin to learn even more than before about your abilities, your capacities to learn and change as you relax. And the mind begins to drift down toward a place of quietness. A place of peaceful inner awareness. A place that almost seems to give off signals that directs awareness down toward it, into it. More and more comfortably, more and more effortlessly, more and more completely and deeply than before. Where even the effort it takes to be aware of the sound of my voice or the meaning of my words may almost seem to be too much effort to bother making. It's so much easier simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. Allowing events to occur in your own time, in your own way, a drifting down, deeper, deeper, deeper down. Get a sense of that happening automatically. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Every word I say doubles that feeling of relaxation and bliss. 10, 20, 100 times deeper. Get a sense of that happening now. And drifting into that space, just you and the sound of my voice. And just when you think you've reached the ultimate space of profound hypnosis and trance, my voice and words are going to take you 10 times deeper. And the deeper you go, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the deeper you'll go. That's right. Every word I say doubles that feeling. And everything I say now is your reality. Every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon. You have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And that unconscious mind, the back of the mind, that instinctive, intuitive part of your being, can continue to hear, to understand and respond to those things I might say without the need for you to do anything at all. It's so much easier for the conscious mind simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. That's right. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take to tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body now that seems to drift through time and space. That wonderful free floating place of effortless relaxation and letting go. Allowing events to occur in your own time, in your own way. That's right. The unconscious mind can allow that drifting to occur while the conscious mind drifts off. someplace else entirely now. That's right, in your own time, in your own way, aware of events that occur along the way. As the unconscious mind utilizes that opportunity to alter your awareness and to continue that learning in whatever way is the right way for you. Learning that feeling of letting go, allowing the unconscious to assume more and more responsibility for guiding and directing awareness as you continue to learn even more than before about your abilities, your capacities to learn as you relax. As you relax and enter into the trance, more and more comfortably, more and more effortlessly, more and more deeply, completely than before, I can wonder whether you're aware that you've drifted deeply into hypnosis. Because the deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you'll go. Get a sense of that happening automatically. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that now, just for a while. Every word I say doubles that feeling. And as you drift in that space, you can use your unconscious mind as a resource and inner strength that you can learn from, be guided by. All that's needed to build that rapport with the unconscious is to have a line of communication. And sometimes the unconscious communicates by movement. It may be that the eye reflex changes and the eyes flicker, or the head moves slightly, or a muscle twitches involuntarily. That's right, you can try and keep those eyes still, if they flicker even more. It may be that the left hand moves all by itself and starts to feel lighter and lighter, starts to drift up, or the right arm goes even higher. Only the unconscious mind knows which it will use. That's right. Because the unconscious mind knows more about you than anyone else. And so as you drift deeply into that trance, even deeper than before, I'd like your unconscious mind to allow you to hear clearly that voice, that negative voice that's been holding you back, that's been whispering in your ear. In a moment, you're going to get a sense of that voice. You'll hear those words that have been rolling around in your mind for many, many years. And I want you to listen clearly to whose voice that is. That's right, you can hear it. Get a sense of it now. Those words that are placed on you by someone else, maybe even someone with well-meaning. But listen to that voice now. And maybe even when you realize whose voice it is, if you want, you can thank that person for wanting the best for you. But then in your own mind, you can say it was only ever your opinion. And now that you've grown, now that you're an adult, now that you're a fully grown human being, in your own rights, you can make a decision. See that volume button on that voice. Make a decision. And when you're ready, turn that volume down, turn it off, eliminate it. Do it now. Get a sense of that happening. Try and hear that voice now and find you cannot. And the harder you try and remember what it sounded like, the further away it goes. You are already the most incredible creation, already a whole being. You are love and you are loved and you are loving. And now you've got my voice in your head. And if ever you place any, if you doubt yourself, anyone tries to place any doubt on you, it will be as if I'm standing right beside you, with my arm around your shoulder, whispering in your ear. You are the most incredible creation. You are love and you are loved and you are loving. And the core of who you are is pure joy and light and love. And you know I believe it. Get a sense of that now. Feel my energy. Feel my strength transferring to you. From today, if you ever doubt yourself, if that voice ever tries to chirp up, or any other negative voice, or if anyone tries to place any doubt on you, it will be as if I'm standing right beside you. You'll feel my energy, you'll feel my strength transferring to you, and you'll hear my voice in your head. You are the most incredible creation. You're already a whole being. You are love, and you are loved, and you are loving. Get a sense of that now. And the harder you try and remember what that negative voice sounded like or what it was saying, further away it goes. You know, I don't know whether it be a minute from now, or an hour from now, 20 years from now, when you suddenly realize that that voice disappeared right here, right now. That's right. Replaced by a new understanding. And as you drift in that space, I want you to have the most incredible experience of freedom and liberation. Because in a moment from now, the essence of who you are, that intangible part of a human being, the passenger, the observer, in that physical form, is going to drift up out of your body. Get a sense of it drifting up out of your crown chakra, the very center of your head. Get a sense of just drifting up out of that space and leaving your body in that bed, in that chair for a moment. Get a sense of that happening now. And feel that feeling of freedom as the essence of who you are separates from your body, your physical body. But I want you to notice as you drift up and away from your body that the essence of who you are is ageless. It's infinite. Just for a moment, look back at that body in that chair or that bed and show it some appreciation. How incredible is that body? Think about the experiences you've had through that body, people you've communicated with, the love you felt, the pleasure you felt. Just think about how incredible your body is. It is the most incredible creation in this known universe. In the history of mankind, there have been 100 billion people on planet Earth. 100 billion. But there's never been another you. You are unique. You are incredible. And as you look at your body, as you drift away from your body, show it some appreciation. Now, it's okay to love your body and look after your body. But also notice that you are not your body. And nothing that happens to that physical body can touch the essence of who you are. Because the essence of who you are is pure joy and light and love. That's who you are. Get a sense of drifting even higher, drifting up out of that building you're in. Get a sense of drifting higher and higher, drifting away so high that you could actually look back at this incredible planet we're living on. See that beautiful blue planet spinning through space. How incredibly lucky are we to have landed on this planet? The whites of the clouds, the whites of the mountaintops, the greens of the forest, the blue of the ocean. Get a sense of that planet spinning through space. And just for a moment, you can think about the close to 8 billion people that live on that planet, of which you are one unique, incredible individual. And notice how your perspective changes. Things that had seemed overwhelming no longer have any power over you. Things that had seemed hard or difficult to overcome no longer have any power over you. Now get a sense of a target, a massive target between you and that beautiful blue planet. Get a sense of the colors, the bands, the very center of that target. Now in the center of that target is total, unconditional self-love. The center of that target is flooded with the most intense feeling of unconditional self-love. In a moment, I'm going to make this sound. As I make that sound, you'll be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through that target into a space of total bliss. And as you go through the target, your mind and body will be flooded with the most intense feeling of unconditional self-love. And I want you to know that it's okay to love yourself. So get ready. As I make that sound, you're going to be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through the center of that target. And your mind and body are going to be flooded with that wonderful feeling of unconditional self-love. Get ready. Now you're in that space. Get a sense of that feeling now. An unconditional self-love, that love that you feel for the people you love. And know it's okay to feel that for yourself. To want for yourself what you want for the people you love. To treat yourself with the same kindness and love that you treat the people you love. Get a sense of that feeling of unconditional love flooding your body. Feel it spreading into the very marrow of your bones. And I want you to notice that that feeling of unconditional love cannot be contained in that physical body. Get a sense of it spreading out beyond your physical being. Get a sense of it rippling out towards the edges of this known universe, and you're at the center of it. Feel into it now. And as you feel into that, I want you to think of a moment of pure laughter. A time when you just felt that feeling of laughter, that belly laugh, that wonderful uncontrolled laughter. Think of a moment when you just laughed. And I want you to step into that moment and feel into that feeling of laughter now. Grasp it with your right hand and pull that feeling into your heart center. And feel your heart expanding with that feeling of laughter. Put your left hand over the top of your right hand. Feel it getting stronger and stronger. And feel that feeling of unconditional love and laughter flooding your body. Now think of a moment of gratitude for someone or something. A moment of pure gratitude in your life. Think of that moment now. Get a sense of it. Step into that moment. Feel into it. And when you absolutely feel that feeling, grasp it again with your right hand and pull it into your heart center. Feel your heart expanding. Put your left hand over your right hand. Feel your heart expanding with that feeling of laughter, unconditional self-love and gratitude. Feel it now. Because you are love and you are loved and you are loving. That's the core of who you are. Feel it now. And notice as your body's flooded with those feelings of laughter, gratitude, unconditional self-love, notice that every doubt, every irrational thought and anxiety and limiting belief has gone from your mind, because it cannot coexist in your body and mind with that feeling of love and laughter and gratitude. The harder you try to remember what it felt like to doubt yourself, the further away that thought goes. That's right. Imagine it's happened and there's nothing you can do about that. The harder you try and feel into that doubt and that voice, it's gone. Replaced by a feeling of silence and a feeling of peace. The harder you try and remember what that voice sounded like, the further away it goes. From today, be that coach for yourself. Be the kind coach that wants the best for you, but does it with kindness and love. Get a sense of that now. Be that coach for yourself that you want to do it for. That you want to be the best you can be for. Be that coach in your own mind. Encourage yourself kindly and with love. Feel that feeling of freedom now. How incredible is that? A lightness of being you may have never experienced before. Feel into it now. I'd like your unconscious mind, your instinctive, intuitive part of your being, to hold that feeling inside you now. Feel that feeling of peace. And you're going to take that feeling of love and that feeling of peace, that feeling of unconditional love, into everything you do. And by being in that space, it'll encourage other people to be in that space as well. Just by being true to yourself. And know it's okay to be you. You're unique. You don't have to be like anyone else. You are already a whole being. Your body is already the most incredible creation. Get a sense of that now. Go with your unconscious, often as you need to know that you are free. Free of every limiting belief that was ever placed on you. And recognize it was only ever someone's opinion. It was never real. Every negative thought that has ever held you back has gone from your mind. Get a sense that it's happened and there's nothing you can do about that. The harder you try and remember what it felt like or sounded like, the further away it goes. You are free in this moment to be you. In each moment, you can make a new decision. You can choose to be happy in any situation. You can choose to feel love. Get a sense of that now. And go with your unconscious often as you need to know that you are free. You know, I don't know, it'll be a minute from now, or an hour from now, or 20 years from now, when you suddenly realize that voice has gone. And the harder you try and remember what it sounded like or what it was saying, the further away it goes. Imagine it's happened. There's nothing you can do about that. Go with your unconscious often as you need to know that you're free. Free of the past, free to live in this moment, and free to create the next moment. And to choose. Only when the unconscious mind knows and has made those changes and allows you that understanding completely. That allows the conscious mind to accept the changes made. Because in a moment, I'm going to count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you that serves you, you will act upon without hesitation. It's now your reality. On 8, your eyes will open. You will feel incredible because you are incredible. And on 10, that new understanding, that feeling of peace, that inner quietness is going to grow stronger day by day. As you create the life you want, but do it from a platform of love. Do it from a platform of kindness to yourself. From a feeling of unconditional self-love. To look after your body, to be kind to your body, and to be kind to yourself. So get ready. As I count to 10, on 8, your eyes will open and you will feel incredible. Like you've got a weight lifted. A quietness in your mind you may have never experienced before. And on 10, that wonderful feeling is going to continue to grow stronger day by day. As that feeling of peace grows stronger with you, to be able to deal with everything that comes your way and do it from a platform of strength and love. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. 2, to create the life you want and do it from that beautiful platform of love and kindness. 3, a feeling of freedom from every negative, limiting belief that was ever placed on you. 4, feel the force of that energy and love flooding your body and mind. 5, feeling wonderfully alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening, feeling absolutely incredible. 9, 10. Violetta, I think your partner's enjoying it too much. Welcome back. I do like to see people enjoying it. Where's Val gone? Oh, there she is. There she is. I knew you were there somewhere. All right, look. Know that you're loved. Know that you're loved. Know that you're loving. Take that feeling to everything you do. Be as kind to yourself as you are to others, and want for yourself what you want for other people. It's great to see you all here. As you know, I'm going to do these every couple of weeks. If any of you got any kind of requests of what you want me to be working on, let me know. If not, I'll just make stuff up as I go along, as I normally do. But look, you know, understand that you have complete control over any of these things that are going on in your life. None of it is set in stone, and you can choose on the basis of, does this belief serve me or not? Is this thought serving me or not? And know that you can change it. You can decide to do what's right for you. Okay, I'm going to say goodnight. Well, wow, look at the time. It's gone an hour and a half. I've been chatting away. But don't worry. It's not, you know, it's still the same fee. No extras. All right, look, nice to see you, Violetta. And nice to see your man. What's your man's name, by the way? So put your mic on.
Speak up. Hello. Mark.
Huh?
Mark.
Doug? No.
Mark.
Mark.
Yes.
All right, Mark. All right, yeah. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you. And I hope you enjoyed it. And Val, good to see you in New York. And Nolene in Tasmania. See, it's a totally international group we've got here. Jessa from Michigan. I won't say your exact address, otherwise people come and visit you. There's Nolene from the Netherlands, Doreen from the Netherlands, I mean. Who else from, where else are you all from? I know we've got Elaine from Scotland. So yeah, it's great to see you. Oh, and Petra from Zurich, Munich.
Hamburg.
Hamburg. I knew it was one of the three. Right. Anyway, look, great to see you all. And I know, Yasmin, where are you?
I'm in Canada currently, but usually Berlin.
Right, yeah, so totally international crowd. So look, feel the love in the room and show yourself that same love. And I'll see you all in a few weeks' time, all right? If you're part of our JHA, by the way, you're a member of the JHA, and on next Tuesday, I'm doing the body and brain upgrade, which sounds worse than it is, all right? There's no actual surgery involved.
Is that on Zoom too, Freddie?
It's on Zoom too, yeah, 9 o'clock on Tuesday. All right, so if you're a member of the JHA, it's I think Anthony will send you the link. All right, okay, I'll say good night and have a wonderful weekend wherever you are. All right, take care. Thanks for showing up. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.